The Ford F-150 Lightning electric pickup truck has now been tested. And yeah, there's some really great videos out there, but it's going to take you hours to watch them. So I'll summarize them for you and just give you the straight facts real quick. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking, great to see you. Thank you for subscribing, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for joining me on this journey towards, moving the world to a better place. Electric cars, solar, wind, battery storage, all those things are getting us to where we need to go. Part of that picture, of course, is the F-150 electric pickup truck. And, I am pretty impressed by it. Charging, how long does it take to charge? The extended range battery pack, we have the numbers for that one. It's not too different. The other one's a little bit slower. The standard range pack's a little bit slower, but the extended range battery pack takes, in the real world, not from Ford, in the real world, from what I've seen from YouTube videos, 41 minutes on a fast charger, anywhere from a 150 kilowatt to 250 kilowatt fast charger. It takes 41 minutes to go from 15% state of charge. So if the battery only has 15%, to get to 80%. It takes 41 minutes. If you want to go from 0% to 15%, it takes 9 minutes. So now you're looking at 0% to 80% state of charge in exactly 50 minutes. But if you want to get from 0% to 90%, that's going to take you about an hour and 10 minutes. If you want to fully charge the battery, it's going to take a lot longer than that. That extra 90, that part from the 90% to 100% range, just that little 10% takes a long, long time. It's really not worth waiting around. That's going to take you about an extra 50 minutes. So you're better off just charging to 80%, or if you have to 90%, rather than waiting around for that extra 50 minutes for the last 10% state of charge. Now, a lot has been said about the vehicle's capabilities, how good it is. Sites are saying it's really impressive. They're actually surprised by how good it is. Basically, this is all the same stuff we've heard about Rivian's pickup truck. It's pretty much the same stuff you hear from journalists once they haven't driven an electric vehicle before. They've only been driving internal combustion engine vehicles. They drive an electric one. They're like, wow, these are amazing. Wow, shock horror. Yeah, we all could have told you that, couldn't we? Anyway, as I was saying before, the standard range battery pack, that's the smaller battery pack, that actually charges at a slower rate. So often the bigger the battery pack, the faster it can charge in the real world. You hear all kinds of numbers thrown around, and manufacturers might say, oh, our battery pack will do 350 kilowatt charging. And no, it doesn't really. It might do it for like 10 seconds max. It doesn't really do that. In the virtual world, maybe. In the real world, it doesn't. So that's why Ford's bigger battery pack will charge faster. So the standard range pack, from what I'm seeing, it's around about 10% slower charging. So you can add 10% to those numbers I just gave you. The great thing is that Ford's published figures, they said it'll charge from 15% to 80% in 41 minutes. They're pretty much correct, pretty much spot on. Kudos to Ford. And Ford's doing a really good job at just giving you what it says it will. In fact, in many cases, it's giving you more. You're getting more power, more range than what Ford actually advertised when they listed these trucks for sale. So I've got to say that to me is awesome. I love that. So Ford is using 400 volt battery technology in this vehicle. They're not using 800 volt, which is what Hyundai are using, Porsche are using, Audi are using. Some different manufacturers are using 800 volt technology because it has the capability to charge cars quicker in theory. It's not always really technically true. I mean, in the case of Tesla, their vehicles, most of them can charge at 250 kilowatt, which is obviously a lower rate than the 350, but in the real world, charging times are actually fairly similar, not too different. However, when you think about it, the fact that Ford's F-150 Lightning only comes with 150 kilowatt charging, it's a pretty big downside to the vehicle. I think it's a pretty big drawback. In my videos I've made comparing the Ford F-150 Lightning to its competition, that's the biggest thing. The one thing I think is a problem in this truck, the time it takes to charge. For example, the charging in the Silverado is going to be way quicker. It might be about twice up. Okay, let's think real world, probably about 50% faster to charge the Silverado electric pickup truck based on the numbers we're seeing from General Motors right now. That's a big difference. So there's definitely room for improvement with the charging for the F-150 Lightning. But I think most owners will find that the Lightning will charge, not too bad. It's a little bit better than we expected because the charging rates are actually up close to 150 kilowatt. It's running at pretty much almost peak charging for that full time from 15% to 80% state of charge, which is really good. Ford's engineers have done a great job on that. But there's one, of course, drawback here. You do need to have access to 150 kilowatt or 350 kilowatt DC chargers along your route. So if you don't have a Tesla, of course, you're not part of the Tesla Supercharger network, that could be a challenge. That said, Tesla is going to be opening up their network this year, equipping it with CCS chargers, meaning, in theory, you could even use Tesla's network potentially later on sometime this year. However, if you're driving one of these on the highway, it would mean you would need around about a 41 minute, maybe a couple minutes longer, maybe like a 43, 45 minute stop about every 2.5 hours. Here's the math. EPA highway rating on the longest range truck is 283 miles. If you stop with just 30 miles of remaining range, say around about 10% or just under, and you want to add 200 miles of range to 80%, then you'll get 2.5 hours of driving on the freeway before you need to stop. The Silverado might be able to mean you'll be able to drive for closer to 4 hours and stop for a lot less time. So at this point, that's one of the key reasons why I recommend getting the Silverado or the Cybertruck when that's available over the Ford F-150 Lightning. But the reality is neither of those are for sale right now. So really, Ford's competition is just Rivian today. Now, some people are saying this truck actually charges at a similar rate to a Tesla, say a Model 3 battery. Not really a fair comparison. The reason being, the bigger the battery, the faster it can hold a state of charge for. The battery in the F-150 is much larger than a battery in a Tesla Model 3. So the F-150 battery would be able to hold 250 kilowatt charging for longer. So if this truck did have 250 kilowatt charging, you would see a much higher state of charge and a much higher state of charge held over a long period of time versus a vehicle like a Tesla Model 3, which has a much smaller battery. Of course, it's not entirely that simple, but that gives you a pretty good idea of how it works. Now, one thing the videos haven't told me, and I'm not too sure on yet, maybe you can enlighten me in the comment section below. This is a big issue that no one seems to be talking about. Does Ford's battery have preconditioning or pre-warming? If not, then the battery curves or the battery times might be hard to reach unless there is a warm climate and extensive high-powered driving. What does this mean? Well, Tesla's vehicles have, or not just Tesla's, but other cars as well, have the ability to precondition the battery to make it the right temperature to charge at the fastest possible speed. I don't actually know if Ford's battery has this ability. I haven't been able to find this out. Do any of you know? Let me know in the comment section below. And let me know what you think of these charging times. Would you be content with this charging speed? Or would you want something that can charge a bit faster like the Cybertruck or the Silverado electric pickup truck? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.